Good afternoon, guys. My name is Olanda, and as you can see there, it's a guitar. That's my product, the Spring Coil Fixed Bridge. What gave me the idea for this? I've been playing and using pretty much every single type of guitar I can find probably the last 10 years. It's my favorite hobby. Maybe I can make some money off it. One of the ideas it gave me, I've used many over the years, pretty much every system out there. A lot of them are fun to use, but the main compelling issue with all of them is that there's a lot of time needed in order for me to set these instruments up, especially for a beginner. First time I encountered some of these bridges, like Floyd Rose or Kaler, first time I did it was probably 2 hours before I could even start playing. I mean, every time I wanted to make an adjustment, it would be about another half an hour, 45 minutes before I can play another song with different intonation. Same thing as well, numerous amount of time, and this is one thing that's always, doesn't exist yet. There's methods that are out there to prevent detuning to a certain extent, but nothing actually completely prevents it. How it works, basically, it will be two cylindrical cylinder with two springs inside. Each tends in opposite direction, because the main thing about these bridges is that the bridge has to be parallel to the body. If it's not parallel to the body, it is not set up properly, and you will get a very ugly and very undesired sound. With the system, it'll always keep the bridge centered and parallel to the body, regardless of what intonation you have. So it'll have a constant tension at the body, and no matter if I down tune or up tune on my strings, it'll stay the same. So I don't have to spend that extra half hour to keep it parallel and readjust it, which is one of the issues that I've had with previous systems. When I would change tuning, my bridge would alter, and the whole thing is pretty much screwed up. These are the most widely used systems to date, and they're actually quite expensive. This is the Kaler system. This actually isn't as available as the Floyd. This is actually probably more well-known overall. A lot of companies have jumped on it, and this is actually what I use today. Main issue with the ones I use the speed loader version of this. That one, the first time I received it was the one I was talking about. It took me about 2 hours. Because not only do I have to adjust it at height and keep it parallel, but I have to use certain type of Allen wrenches for every single one to tune it properly. That takes a while. The Kaler pretty much has the same type of system, though that one isn't widely used, though I know some artists prefer that. But both of these rely on two things: tension from the strings on top of the body and tension from the strings below to keep it centered. Same thing. A lot of songs are sometimes played in a half step down. I will change that, and then suddenly the bridge is altered, and now all my strings are out of tune. So it was a very, it was a pain, let's put it that way. Especially if you're on stage. Some of the benefits of the Spring Coil, pretty much as mentioned before. This does exist nowadays. Actually, it's a new thing that I was able to find, but it is not marketed overall. It's only if you really look for it. They have not marketed it at all. It's called Evertune, which is a new type of bridge. It's stationary though. It's not floating like the one I would want to make. Which pretty much, once you set your string tuning, it will always stay that way unless you decide to change it later on. Using the Spring Coil, I can put that in there, which is kind of what I have here. And no matter what tuning intonation I want, I won't have to readjust the tuning or the level of the bridge. Using the speed loader, which I know BC Rich has introduced earlier this year, I can change a whole set of strings, whether it's an 8-string, 6-string guitar, in under a minute. These are some of the models I would offer. This is probably the most common. This would be for like more budget type of guitars. Usually you see these on guitars around the $200 range. The more premium model is something that I have here, which pretty much includes every single feature you can find on the market. I've seen usually range around $700 to $1,000 depending. The business plan that I've seen in the music industry, whether it's instruments, whether artists, technology, recording, software, whatever, NAMM is the place to be. You want to be, if you're at NAMM, you pretty much have all the credibility you need, and there will be sponsorship and companies who back you up. Some of the partnerships that I would preferably want, specifically for my favorite brand, BC Rich, they're mainly concentrating on guitars made for heavy metal. But what I like about them, any new products or technology that they've introduced, they use it as standard throughout their lines, not just on the custom-built, expensive model that you sometimes see artists use. It's not going to cost you thousands, maybe a couple $100. Price point, usually for the actual hardware, we keep $200 to $300. I've seen a lot of manufacturers install custom bridges for around that price point. But again, if it's turned into a mass production, usually like through BC Rich's standard line, it'll probably be way cheaper than that. And I guess if there wasn't any questions. I was gonna show this, but whatever.
Can you play?
Huh?
Can you play?
I can't play, I didn't bring an amp.